And we continue with our discussion on Prime Minister's visit to the United States. Now, Ms. Purnima Nath, we can discuss about the bilateral meeting between President Joe Biden. Of course, this was his last, summit, bilateral talk there as the president, if you can say, this time around. But India, of course, shares a bipartisan relationship when it comes to the United States. Now, what do you see? Where do you see this going forward from here on, given the fact that there has been a good bonhomie that has been on display between Joe Biden and Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and how he has time and again hailed India's role in the peacekeeping efforts in various conflicts, including the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war?
A very good question, but here I want to bring some attention. Sometimes it comes across as doing something rather than saying something. So the action doesn't match with what they're saying. Certain entities are saying. In this particular case, and in the past also we have seen this. So I don't take the words very seriously at this point of time. I have to see actions. But going forward, how this is going to shape up is based on the political landscape of America. As you know, we have election very quickly coming within just about a month, that we're going to have a presidential election over here. President Donald Trump has a very positive equation with PM Narendra Modi. However, I have not seen that warm equation with Vice President and the presidential nominee from the Democratic Party, Kamala Harris, with Narendra Modi. So obviously, as you know, Kamala Harris didn't visit India. Kamala Harris's focus around India was quite negative in the recent past, whether it's Kashmir, whether it's anti-CAA, whether it's minority treatment in India. They always sided with the other side at the opposition level, from the left side. So unfortunately, we can't really see exactly how it's
I just have to hold you there. We are getting live visuals coming in from New York City, where the Prime Minister has received a rousing welcome. Once again, we see folk dances, the performance of the Indian diaspora welcoming the Prime Minister. There you have the Prime Minister entering the hotel. And in fact, yesterday's touchdown, you saw the Garba performances. And now here in New York City, you see Bhangra being performed for the Prime Minister. Here you can see folk dances from the northern part of the country. Prime Minister Modi posing with members of the Indian community, meeting and greeting them. And there you have visuals coming in straight from the hotel in New York City, with excitement, of course, quite visible amongst the members of the Indian community. This is, remember, India's the Prime Minister's first visit to the United States after taking charge for a third time in his third term as the Prime Minister. And the red carpet has been rolled out for the Prime Minister in New York City, and very shortly he will be addressing the Indian diaspora in New York City. He will be meeting the Indian diaspora. He has hailed the community for making a positive impact in the United States of America when he was greeted yesterday by the members of the Indian community in Philadelphia. And now, remember, the Prime Minister also said that Indian community has distinguished itself in the United States of America, making a positive impact across diverse sectors. And in some time, he will be addressing the program in New York City, Modi and US program. And it's going to be, of course, a celebration of the bond between US and India. Of course, there are millions of Indians, members of the Indian diaspora, who live in America. And you can see the dance performances in honor of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, a flavor of various, the diverse cultures of India, the rich culture, the rich heritage of India on full display whenever the Prime Minister visits any foreign country, especially a country like America, where, of course, there are thousands and lakhs, crores of people who are of Indian origin. And next, of course, the big Indian diaspora event has been lined up in the Long Island in New York City. And as you can see, at least 24,000 registrations, viewers, at least last that was checked. 24,000 registrations have already been made for this Modi and US Progress Together event in New York, where the Prime Minister will be addressing the Indian community. It has been organized by the Indo-American community of the United States of America. It's going to take place at the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum, which accommodates around just 15,000 attendees. But this is going to be a very important message that the Prime Minister is going to send out, and participants from at least 42 states are expected, with a significant turnout anticipated from the tri-state area. And it's going to be an historic event. We've seen Prime Minister Modi always making a statement whenever he visits America, whenever he addresses the people of Indian community. Just remember, after attending the Quad Summit, the Wilmington Declaration has been released. Quad leaders have hailed India's leadership role in the Indian Ocean region. India has been hailed as the predominant force in Indian Ocean. And remember, India has, of course, emphasized how it's going to host the Quad Summit next year. And in fact, it was scheduled to take place in India this year too, but it could not happen. And it's 2025 when India will be hosting this Quad Summit, a very important Quad Summit. Very strong messages have been sent out to Beijing and even North Korea by the Quad leaders today. PM Modi now reaching the Palace Hotel in New York, and you can see the performances from the Indian diaspora members. And the only visuals coming in from New York, as you can see the excitement among the members of Indian community. The young, the old, all have gathered up and holding the tricolor in their hand. Chants, of course, cheering for India, cheering for Narendra Modi himself, loud and clear. And I'll go across to Mr. Anjit Sen, who's joining us from New Delhi. Mr. Sen, of course, every time the Prime Minister visits the United States, we see the excitement amongst the members of the Indian community. He always makes some really, impactful statements. And, tell us more about the role of the Indian community in the run-up to the presidential elections in November, because that's very important. And we've seen the Prime Minister, holding talks with Trump ahead of the previous elections as well. And this time around also, tell us, how does the role of the Indian diaspora also plays out in the presidential elections?
The role of the diaspora definitely has, it's really an important one, because remember, the elections are just more than a month away in the US, and in fact, it would be a great boost to say that our Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to the US comes at a time when the US elections is barely a few weeks away, and definitely the diaspora is, of course, is upbeat about his visit, but at the same time, what he says when he has talks all across, it's not just with the official US authorities and others, but also with the Indian public, the NRI public out there. Now, from that perspective, I think it would definitely play a role. So inadvertently, I think Narendra Modi's visit to the US will, of course, play a role out here. And as far as the US presidential elections are concerned, the Indian diaspora has now a major role to play. I would say rather a big political force from that perspective.
Right. All right.